I don't know. My name's John, and I'm an alcoholic. Every time I disconnect from this program, I drink. Cross a little bit of that outside issue. We'll just call it cocaine. And so there I am on probation, drinking beer, snorting coke, and partying. What I used to consider partying. And the judges had enough of those dirty UAs. You know, after about 5 years of being on probation and going to AA class, they say, go get your paper signed, and I would come to see you people for class. And then they would lock me up for 6 months, and then they reinstate my probation. Judge got tired of it and said, you can do the rest of your 5 TDC. So mom's in the back of the courtroom crying because her youngest baby boy is going to penitentiary. Now, when the judge sentenced me to the penitentiary, they told me, you're going to do about 2.5, and then you're going to do 2.5 on parole. I knew if I could stay away from drinking and drugging for 2.5 years, well, there must not be a problem, right? I mean, I'm incarcerated, and I didn't seek out any booze or jailhouse drugs. And so I get out on parole, in probably 2 months of being out, I graduated from cocaine to crack on parole. And I quit drinking beer, started drinking vodka. Now, I don't know about y'all, but something tells me my thinking ain't good. Something's wrong with me. I barely make it off of parole. And when I made it off of parole, things got worse. Things got a lot worse. You know, I worked for my family business, helping my folks. My dad started a tool and die shop when I was in middle school, and I'd work at the shop. And things got bad. I started doing things to my family that you don't supposed to do to no one, much less your family. I remember being so strung out and having no money and willing to do anything for more drink and more drug. And there was a habit that we carried at the house of leaving the kitchen window open because my folks were gone and I'm in the neighborhood playing as a kid. Just go through the kitchen window. We'll leave it unlocked. That's the only window in the whole house that would stay unlocked because I was irresponsible. I couldn't keep up with keys or anything like that. So if we're not home, just come through the window. And that thought came across my mind when my parents were out of town. They're gone, and there's valuables in the house. And I remember climbing through that window. And I'm off of parole. I'm probably close to 30 years old, 28 years old, 29, whatever age was, going through the kitchen window so I can rob my parents' house. And when I was in there, I remember feeling so empty and so, I wanted it to end, but I had to keep chasing what I fell in love with, drugs and alcohol. It was the love of my life. And I remember being in their house snooping around and hearing the wake-up alarm go off in my folks' bedroom. And I thought, oh crap, maybe my dad's here, my mom's gone. Intentionally, I started making noise throughout the house, wanting my dad to load the gun and kill me. I wanted to die. And I didn't care if it was my dad thinking I was a burglar, which I was, and killing me. And when that thought went through my mind, and I ran on that, and I made noise throughout the house, hoping he would come in and just put me down. And then when I found out nobody was home. I was mad. Took what I took and got out of there. I've been fired from the company a few times, and the last time they fired me for real. I was away from the family and the business for about 4 years, maybe 4 years, and I became a couch hopper. From couch to couch, or where anybody might have me. I stayed outside a few nights, not very many, in the elements. But I would always find a way to get somewhere and take advantage of somebody. I don't know. I wound up at this guy's house. I knew him as Jay, and he was elderly. He was disabled, and I would kind of help him out and take advantage of him. And between me and him, I would take care of chores around the house, and he would take care of all of my financial needs, which I needed some money because drugs and alcohol cost money. And so I lived that way for many years. And I don't know. I just in and out of AA a few times. Okay, let's go to this thing, and what? I don't know if I picked up a chip or not. I don't recall much of it, and I just know my life was hell, and I was putting my family through misery. It was just crazy, drinking and drugging all the time. When I woke up or came to, it was time to drink or drug, or make a plan to get it, and it was that way probably for about a good 18-year stretch, minus 2.5 years, and it's just the way it was. I don't know. I was living at Jay's house, and they told me, they said, well, we got some people coming over to pick you up. They're going to take you to a place again, because they took me to plenty of places. I remember one time I even had insurance, and I went to Spring Shadows Glen. And that was lovely. Sit in a circle and talk about your feelings and emotions and shit and whatever. That was early. Wow, I was probably on probation. Yeah, I was on probation, and I had a vehicle, and the vehicle was in the parking lot. And one day I was just sitting there at Spring Shadows Glen waiting for the next session of whatever, and I just got up and left. Never came back. Went to go do my thing. And I would go to a lot of detox centers, similar to the Humble House, and I would find a way, get in an argument, and get kicked out. And then I could wind up back at whoever's house. Well, they kicked me out of there. No, well, truth is, I got kicked out because I wanted to get kicked out. And a couple of times I would just up and leave. Skip all that, just leave. And I kind of made a habit of staying at a detox center for a couple weeks. But again, they said they're going to pick you up and take you to this place called the Humble House. Now, I don't know much about Humble at this time. My neighborhood is Tidwell and Hardy. That's where I was. That was my area. And when they picked me up, and they exited Will Clayton, and they come down Will Clayton, and they just kept going, and to me it seemed like forever. And they just kept going. I was 38 years old, and then they come down to Tascasita, and I'm like, man, I'm where am I? This is far away. This is far. These people are taking me far away. And so they dropped me off here at this Humble House, and like some of us, I had the hefty bag of dirty clothes. And as soon as I got out of the vehicle and grabbed my bag, the vehicle just took off. I'm like, well, shit. And so here I sat at this place called the Humble House, 38 years old. I came here 11/3/10. And that morning I had drank and used So I guess I came here 11/3, or however the date system works. I'm not good at that. The date, anyhow, 11/3/10 was my original sobriety date that I still remember. I became a product of the 12 steps off of that sobriety date. I lived here at the Humble House for 15 months. I stayed at the Humble House, and I just knew this Humble House experience was going to be just like the rest. Give me a week, give me 2 weeks, I'm gone, because that's what I do. That's what I've always done. I check in, I stay a little while, and I leave. Never put pen to the paper, never read out the book or anything like that. Coming to the Humble House, it was, something was different. I don't know what it was. Maybe I finally had that gift of true desperation. Truly desperate and just bankrupt as far as trying another idea of mine. I started trying y'all's ideas. My first sponsor, before he went to jail for stealing a car, he said, just don't leave. Stay put. Don't leave. Stay put. And so okay, I can comprehend that. So I stayed at the Humble House. About a month later or whatever, they call up here to the Humble House and they tell me that he's in jail for stealing a car. And I'm like, well, this is a joke. It was weird because I put this guy up on a pedestal thinking, oh yeah, the sponsor thing, and I hear people talk about sponsors and how important they are and all this crap, and mine just went to jail. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, it's time to leave. It's time, yeah, this is a bust. Let's leave. But I did what he said. He said, just don't leave and stay put. And needless to say, I got another sponsor. There's a guy that used to attend to these meetings called Bill, also known as Waist Deep. Today I can't understand half the words coming out of his mouth. I just can't understand them. But when he spoke, to me, he scared me. He scared me when he spoke. And I asked him, I said, would you be my sponsor? Would you take me through the process? And he said it would be an honor. And that was kind of weird for someone to say it would be an honor. And about so many months into the deal with me and him, I was getting ready to leave again. And the reason I thought I had to leave or give up on this recovery business is because I couldn't read the steps off the wall. I couldn't read the basic poster board in the back of the room, much less read this thick-ass book with all these big-ass old words. And I didn't really understand everything y'all are saying, and I wasn't smart enough to get sober. That's what I started telling myself. So I went to my room in the back, I packed up my bag, and I told Glenn, the cook at the time, he's passed on. I said, Glenn, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave, Glenn. And see, that right there was the beginning of my recovery because I was telling on myself. See, all those times before, I didn't tell nobody nothing. I would cause a problem and get kicked out, or I would just leave. But here at the Humble House, I told Glenn my plan. And he said, why do you want to leave? I said, Glenn, I can't read. And if getting sober has something to do with this book, it ain't going to work. And to me, that was my reality. I can't read good enough for recovery. And he looked at me and said, well, what are you going to do? Drink vodka and smoke crack? And that was the furthest thing from my mind. But when he said it, it became real. And I was like, well, shit. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And so I went back to my room and unpacked my crap. And I just sat there. I don't know. My sponsor was real patient with me. he also told me, he said, you can get the book on CD. You can get it on cassette, CD, get your headphones, follow along. And I found some things out there my sponsor and the book said is true. My sponsor said God rewards effort. Period. God don't care if I can read or not read. God rewards effort. And that's what I started doing. I started putting effort into the program. I started getting my book, getting frustrated, getting the big book dictionary, coming across a word I can't pronounce, trying to look it up, can't read the definition, and get the whole book, the cassette or CD player and all that, and throw it across the room. And that's what I did. But I didn't leave. Now I'd walk my sorry ass across the room, pick up all my stuff, and try again. I don't know. It was embarrassing. There was a guy named Joseph that was in the house, Big Joseph. And we used to have our morning meetings in the waterfront building. We'd sit on those couches, half asleep, and, they would pass out, like we still do, pass out the readings and how it works. And I think Joseph was passing them out. Yeah, he was passing them out, and he offered me the reading, and I turned it down. I declined. I said, no, I don't want to. And he flung it at me, and he said, you need to participate in your recovery. See, any other time, that's time to get kicked out, because I'm going to act out and get kicked out of the facility. But instead, for no reason, I just sat there and asked whoever it was next to me at the age of 38 years old, can you help me read this when they call on me? You know what that person said next to me? Sure. Yeah, I'll help you. So as I stumbled through the reading, and the guy next to me helping me with every fifth word or whatever, I got through it. Was it embarrassing? Yeah. Yeah, it was embarrassing. I think my reading level was on the 4th grade when I graduated high school, if I remember correctly. Might have been even 3rd, but I think it was 4th. And I had a hard time reading. I don't know. I went through a lot of emotions. 38 years old, and having the just the embarrassment of some of my shortcomings. I don't know. I would always turn that paper down, or even in the big meeting. They knew I couldn't read, and they would give it to me anyhow. Or sit in front of me, don't even ask me, sit in front of me and walk away. And I'm like, I have to tell the person next to me, can you help me read this when it comes time? And they always said yes. No one ever said no. No one ever said, man, give this shit up and go drink. They never said, why bother? Y'all loved me into sobriety. That's what y'all did. And I remember being determined that I am going to learn how to read front and back of the paper, how it works. I'm going to learn how to read this. So in between meetings, I would get somebody in the house, and I'll say, hey, help me go over this. Learned how to read it, memorized it, either or, whatever. It happened. I could actually, in between meetings, grab that piece of paper, how it works, and I could read it to myself all the way through, flawless. And it didn't happen overnight. It took a while. And I remember being ready. I can read this thing now without stuttering or getting stuck on a word or waiting for the quietness of the crowd to say, oh, that's so-and-so word. They would pronounce it for me or whatever. And so before a meeting started, I went up to the desk and I grabbed How It Works. I grabbed it and I held on to it. And when the meeting started, the chairperson said, somebody has How It Works. And I held it up and I said, I got it. And I said, my name's John, I'm an alcoholic. And this is how it works. And I read that paper, the front and the back, by myself, flawless. Faye was there. A few people was there. People started clapping. started crying, and it felt good. Here we go. I'm a feel-good junkie. I'm a feel-good junkie. Give me some more of that. Have I ever been much for seeking attention? Yeah, maybe a little. Maybe a little. And y'all gave me plenty of it. I stayed at the Omaha house 15 months, and I moved out. I stayed close by. Some people didn't even know I moved out because I was up here every day. And when I moved out with a good female friend that was in recovery. And everybody said, no, don't do it. And I said, but we're just friends. Nope, don't do it. Well, I'm going to do it anyhow. So I was renting a room out of this friend's apartment down there by the lake. And, another thing, being at the Omaha house for 15 months, when I got my year mark, I asked my dad if I can come back to work. I called him. I said, Dad, can I get my job back? He said, I don't know. We'll talk about it and let you know. And so many days later, he called me. He said, well, you can come back. We'll try. You can come back. And so I'm back at the shop since then. And so between Lake Houston and those apartments down there and the Omaha house and traveling into Houston, I was able to stop at the Omaha house to and from work. And but anyhow, yeah, like they said, don't do that. And it happened. I wound up on the Omaha house porch a few months later with all of my belongings, and I actually had a vehicle, and I just sat there. I didn't know what to do because things got crazy at that apartment, and I stayed sober through it. And I came up to the Omaha house, sat on the porch with all my belongings, and there I sat and just waited. And then I told everybody I kind of ain't got no place to stay. And they said there's a guy named Beetlejuice that rents out rooms. And I said, okay, so I'll go over there. And Joseph is living there, the one that flung the paper at me. And he's living there. And a guy named Hambone, I think he was there already, Dennis. And the homeowner, Beetlejuice, was out of town working. They said, he won't mind, just come on in. And I was like, okay. I stayed there for a good while. And I remember after getting that first year of sobriety and getting my job back, my mom gave my sister her car. And my mom wanted to go get a new car. My mom did this knowing my sister was going to give me her car. It was a 97 town car, mint condition. And I loved that car. That 97 town car was nice. I mean, it was flawless, low miles, and it was a great gift, and I really appreciated it. And when I was living at Beetlejuice's house, I come outside one morning and it was gone. That car was gone. And it took me back to my days of stealing people's vehicles. And when I seen my car was gone, I looked up at God and I said, okay, that's what it feels like, huh? And I was like, crap, I did that to so many people. And my phone was in there, my wallet was in there, my original big book was in there, my 4-step, everything, all my everything was in that car. And so I was sad, but I wasn't mad. I couldn't get mad. I tried to get mad. And I was like, who are you to get mad at losing your car when you've done this to how many people? Yeah. And so I just sat there and, like my sponsor would say, chew on it. And I just sat there and chewed on it. And it hurt. Man, what an eye-opener to what I've done to other people. And so back to jumping around on time frames. I moved out of the Elmo house. My sponsor told me, he said, start working with other people on a one-on-one basis before you leave the Elmo house. And I did that. I started working with guys on a one-on-one basis before I left the Elmo House. I'm saying too much, but so let's change it to but. So I stayed sober up until about my next sobriety date was 8/1/13. So from 11/3/10 to 8/1/13, I had a quickie. I didn't get kicked out of Beetlejuice's house. Usually he would ask you to leave if you pick up again. But the following day I came to the Elmo House, told on myself, did the walk of shame, and got with my sponsor, went through the steps, and got sober and carried on. Didn't have to lose my job, lose my place of residency. I didn't have to give the vehicle to the dope man or whatever. Didn't have to do that. Y'all told me it was okay. Y'all told me I didn't have to do that, but y'all said it's okay. Get your chip and start over. So that's what I did. And I stayed sober up until about a month and a half prior to my new sobriety date, which is, what is it? It's 20, the year's 22, 5/19/22 is my new sobriety date. And a couple months prior to that, I got married in sobriety. Yeah, let's not pass that up. I got married in sobriety. And, oh man, how great it was. I got married in sobriety, and I did not celebrate with a drink or a drug. I also got divorced in sobriety, and again, I did not celebrate with a drink or a drug. And man, what a crazy battle that was. A lot of police activity. I was living across the street from my own house, as my soon-to-be ex-wife was living in my house, and I'm living at my mom's house directly across the street. And people coming over to my house, guys and whatnot. And the thought of drinking and drugging didn't cross my mind. Now, I did come up to the Elmo House a lot. Okay? I drove up here a lot when I was going through that. And that's over there off of Tidwell and Hardy area. And driving my car through my house started to become an idea. But drinking and drugging was not. And so, like I said, I got married and divorced sober. What a deal. Stay sober through it. A couple months prior to, a month and a half or so, whatever it was, prior to my new sobriety date, I started sipping on Listerine. The original. Not the one that says 0 alcohol, but the original. And I started sipping on it while I'm enjoying myself in the hot tub, and I'd catch a small little buzz, and I'd giggle, and I'd put it away. And I'd come to a meeting on Sundays, and when they say, anybody, I'd just, no, I'm good. I'm good. And I'd go home, and I am a daily hot tub user. I built this hot tub by scratch. I built it by scratch, and from scratch. Rebar, concrete, tile, pump, jets, all that. And so it was a bitch to build, so I make sure I get in it every day. I get in my hot tub every day. And so I'm sipping on Listerine just about every day, catching a small buzz and stopping. And then one day I grabbed that Listerine bottle, I drank it. I gulped, like 3 big gulps. Bloom, bloom, bloom. And when that hit my stomach, I couldn't get dressed fast enough. Yeah, I was naked. I couldn't get dressed fast enough. I couldn't get dressed fast enough to hit that liquor store. And I've been hearing the commercials all throughout that stint of sobriety about this flavored vodka and that flavored vodka and la la da vodka. And man, when I hit that liquor store, Taka vodka, give it to me. I got to go home. And I got home and I got good and drunk. Good and drunk. I think the first little bit, I even might have put it over some ice. But then that didn't last long. I was just drinking it. Drinking my vodka. My girlfriend come home. And she had a bad experience. Her husband was an alcoholic and got into an accident. I don't know. I'll just leave that alone. She had a bad experience with her ex, who drank a lot, and so she came home and she saw me drunk, and she went across the street and told my mom. My dad never found out. He might know now, but my mom knew, and that's what hurt. Oh man, why'd you have to go tell? You know? And I remember being in my room all drunk and laughing and puking and drinking and puking and drinking and laughing and like, oh fuck, I gotta go to the house tomorrow. And you know, and that's what I did. You know, I really wasn't that upset about it. It just really confirmed some things. And I look back prior to the sipping on the Listerine up to the point of drinking vodka. I looked at my life. What was I doing? Well, I was making a meeting every Sunday on average, but that's all I was doing. I wasn't reading out the book. I wasn't trying to work with another person on a one-on-one basis. I'm busy, you know. I'm busy. I got a life now, and I'm too busy to give back. I'm too busy to pick up that phone and check on another alcoholic. I became real busy, real busy. And the sobriety date before that one, same pattern. You know, I can get married and I can get divorced, and my mom can pass away 2 days before Christmas. And that's what happened this year. You know, this past Christmas. My mom can pass away and I can stay sober. Yes. Life could be going to hell in a handbasket and I can stay sober, and life could be doing great and I could be staying sober, but regardless, when I unplug from you people in this program, I get drunk. Every time. I get drunk every time. My alcoholism, it's real. And my sobriety is too. You know, I can do all kind of things. Man, my life is great today. I live a life today that I do not deserve, but God said I could have it if I'm willing to follow some simple direction. I don't know. You know, every day since my last sobriety date, I wake up. I get up pretty early. I go to bed pretty early. Matter of fact, right now, I'm supposed to be in bed. Y'all got me out on a Friday like I'm partying. So every morning, it's like clockwork. About 5:30 in the morning, I'm on the phone with my friend named Earl. He has like 25 years or something crazy, and we're reading out the book. Either I'm reading or he's reading, and we stay on the phone for about 45 minutes every day. And then besides that, I got some other people, my spiritual advisor out there in the back there. We get on the phone mostly every day, even if it's just for a quick minute. How you doing? What's going on? How you doing? What's going on with you? And my meeting schedules really ain't nothing to brag about. You know, it's Sunday morning, and the only thing I've done different since my last sobriety date is those phone calls and reading out the book every day to start my day every day. You know, I woke up this morning without the obsession to drink and drug. For me, that's the miracle. You know, I told my sponsor when I was in Normal House and we started going through this process of the steps, and I had my doubts that I was smart enough to get sober because of the reading and the big words and trying to, you know, I couldn't even hardly read back my 4-step to myself to share it with my sponsor. So a lot of it was verbal. He said, write it down. Now, I wrote it down the best I could, but I couldn't read what I wrote down because the spelling's all jacked up, and even if it was on point, I can't, whatever. And so a lot of my fourth step was just verbal. Tell him the truth of how I was living and what I did, and be willing to make those amends. That amends process was weird. It was weird. Today I stay plugged in. I still have Chris. I got Chris, and I got Freddie that I grew up with from my childhood days, and that's it. The rest of my friends are AA related. And no matter what I'm going through, if I call someone in AA, or if I come up to the humble house and I say blah 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 blah, yeah, no one has said, Rooster, why don't you just go get drunk? Why don't you just go smoke some crack? No one's told me that. And so, yeah, what a way to go. I remember a time where I was hanging out with some people and I had them in my life, and I would say, man, let's go get high. Y'all don't do that. Y'all don't do that. I'm grateful to be here. This program has saved my life. It has enabled me to be a pretty decent son to my mother before she passed. I got the heartbreak, how'd I say it at her funeral? Heartbreaking privilege of being at her side when she took her last breath in the hospital. I was there, my sister was there, grandkids were there, great-grandkids were there, my dad was there. Everybody was there. And I got to feel that. I got to feel every bit of it, and I didn't want to drink. I remember leaving the hospital. Mom's numbers and the machine. She's hooked to the machine. They got the beep beep, and they got these other little buzzers and all these little lights flashing, and the whole room is full of distractions. The chances of Mom coming out of this, it ain't, no, she's not going to at a certain point. And she's on a ventilator, and once the other grandkids get there, she's coming off of the ventilator. And it's time to say goodbye. And when all those machines and everything shut down, and it was quiet, and all you could hear was small cries from the family members, and I put my hand on my mom's dead body. That was tough. That was tough. I didn't want to drink. I didn't want to drug. You people allowed me to go through life on life's terms. And man, what a blessing. Me and my mom, we got to do a lot. She would come up here to the humble house. I got my job back with a family, so I got to see my family every day. My sister helped me build my credit. I bought a house across the street from my mom. She lives across the street, 2 houses down the other way. We all live on the same cul-de-sac, and the shop's at the end of the cul-de-sac. So, this AA bit has given me my family back. Today I'm pretty much employable for the most part. I don't know. Mom passing away and me not thinking about drinking. It don't matter. I'm plugged in. My dad could die tonight. It matters, but I'm not going to drink. I'm just not. I don't have the desire to drink or drug. I quit making those phone calls in the morning, and I quit being willing to work with another alcoholic on a one-on-one basis. I'm going to drink. I'm going to drink again. This program is not that hard. I still get to do stuff. I built a sawmill from a riding lawnmower, and I'm building a house from logs. I get to do stuff. As long as I'm willing to work with another alcoholic. At the end of the meeting, raise my hand, put my name on the board in the back. I don't know. I remember telling my sponsor, and when he told me, he said, I said, how am I going to stop drinking and drugging? How am I going to stop? He said, you got to go through the process of the 12 steps. I said, you mean if I go through this process, these words and all this action and all this mess, you mean to tell me what I've been waking up with or coming to with for 18 years is going to be gone? He said, yes. I thought to myself, bullshit. Bullshit. Well, he didn't lie. Y'all didn't lie. I don't know. I'm grateful to be here tonight. I'm glad I got to be a decent son for about 13 years, ever since 11/3/10, to my mom. And that's because of you people in this program, you know. I don't know. My dad's taking it kind of rough, so I'm there for my dad. I brought my dad up to the Elma house a couple times, the Christmas deal and the New Year's deal, and I think even one meeting. But he enjoyed it. He'd come up here and find somebody, Shane or whoever, and just sit there and jibber jabber, and he likes it. And today he said, "Are you going to the Elma house tonight?" I said, "Yeah." And I said, "But they want me to tell my story." And I didn't know what to do, you know, because I can tell my story in front of my dad, but maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. You know, I was felt weird about it, and you know, I'd probably have to need to leave out some of the, you know, breaking and entering. But I thought that was important because I wanted somebody in that household, no matter who it was, to kill me. You know, and I also found out a bunch of other stuff about myself. Shortly after I left the Elmo house, life was good. I had my job back. I had that '97 town car. I'm driving over an overpass. And without even contemplating suicide, my foot hits the brake and I pull over to the shoulder on a very tall bridge. And it scared the shit out of me. Because I've contemplated, had thoughts of how I'd do it, but this came out of nowhere. And it was put the car in park and jump. And that's where I was headed. And where did that come from? Why? I'm sober. I got my job back. I got a car. I got a group of friends. Everything's good. I found out I have some outside issues. And I seek treatment for that. And at some point in time, so many months of having a meeting with what they call a psychiatrist, he noticed a few things, some erratic behavior and things that I told him. You know, one thing I did with him, the same thing I did with my sponsors, I got honest. That's all I did, was get honest. And this dude was a good dude. He wasn't quick to say, "Here, let's put you on this." Like I said, it was some months of meeting with this guy, and he said, "I want you to try something." And I called my sponsor. "Oh my God, they want to put me on drugs. I'm going to spread today." He's like, "It's in the book." He said, "Seek treatment." And today I don't want to kill myself. I haven't had thoughts of killing myself. I haven't had any attempts like that day on the bridge ever since I seek treatment for these other issues. I don't know. I'll share one more thing. My story's kind of all over the place, but that's how my brain rolls. And and if I can live with it, you can deal with it. When I went through the penitentiary and I was going through processing, whatever they call it, where you go like from this unit to that unit, they took my blood and they said, if you do not want your HIV results, sign this paper. And I saw the biggest, baddest, toughest people in the penitentiary sign that paper like they did not want to know the results. Well, I didn't sign the paper. I wanted to. I don't mind knowing my results. I know how I was living, high on cocaine. And I never got my results. And some of the other guys did. I said, "Hey, you get your results from?" They're like, "Yeah, I'm okay." Well, they never gave me my results. And that kind of worried me. So I had to put in a request. And they told me, they said, "Yeah, you're HIV positive." fuck. And I figured I'd be dead by now. But I think I was 24, 25 when I found out I was HIV positive. And when all the years of having HIV and using drugs and drinking, the doctors say, you know, you got a viral load that's low. You got a T cell that's good. We're not going to put you on medication, you know, and because you're handling it. And the doctor's like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I'm like, bye, I got to go smoke crack and drink, you know. I'm medicating it myself, and it's working. And so, anyhow, I come to the humble house, and my T cells start to go away, and my viral load starts to get higher. I get sober, and I'm starting to get sick, or I'm going to start getting sick. And one thing I've always again, man, fuck them pharmaceutical companies and their drugs and all their crap and all their whatever. And I was like, ah, crap, fine. Okay, give me the medication. And so that was another time where I was pissed off. I was pissed. I was in a meeting. I was pissed. I cussed out the whole program, and I cried and I got upset. Faye might have been there, and some other people might have been there, but I was mad. This is bull crap. You mean to tell me I can handle HIV with drugs and alcohol, but when I get sober, it's starting to affect me? And so anyhow, I got on the medication, and I'm undetectable, non-transmittable, and that's cool, you know, whatever. But that was another time that I just didn't say to hell with this, you know, and leave. I don't know, my name's John, and I'm an alcoholic. Every time I disconnect from this program, I drink. Period. That's all I got.
Thank you, John.